When the Brits first heard them, they were less than enthused. Perhaps those blokes were just dazed and confused. We're talking Becoming Led Zeppelin, today on Grover Served. Hi, I'm Tanner Grover. This past week at my local theater, I attended Becoming Led Zeppelin. It was directed by Bernard McMahon, and it features all four bandmates participating in a biographical rockumentary for the very first time. There's a lot of unseen concert footage and really cool old clips. But before we get into the details, if you could go ahead and smash that subscribe button, as if you're a John Bonham smashing a set of Congo drums. Bassist John Paul Jones said, "It's all in the wrists." I'd really appreciate your support. And while you're at it, go ahead and click that notification bell so hopefully more of me shows up in your feed. A friendly reminder that Grover Served is not a spoiler-free show. Spoiler alert, Led Zeppelin's kind of a big deal. And the real treat of this film is that we get to hear the story of their formative years from the bandmates themselves. This is Becoming Led Zeppelin, in their words. Jimmy Page got his first guitar when he was 12 years old. Largely self-taught, it quickly became apparent that he was some kind of prodigy. There's this funny scene of him on a talent show in the late 50s. He looks like a Howdy Doody doll come to life. He's playing rockabilly, that would evolve into the blues, and from there, he would go on to actually drop out of school. He was just that obsessed with the guitar playing. He became a sessions musician, and was one of the most sought-after hired guns by people on the British music scene. John Paul Jones, the mild-mannered axeman of Led Zeppelin, was the son of vaudeville-performing parents. His father was an arranger for big bands, something that John Paul would eventually try out, as he had a much more formal musical education training. He then became a sought-after sessions musician, and would actually cross paths with Jimmy Page, as they both performed on the Goldmember theme for the 1960s James Bond classic. Singer Robert Plant and drummer John Bonham's histories were intertwined throughout their teenage years, as they both found themselves playing in various bands, sometimes together, sometimes not. Plant left school in his teenage years and was homeless most of the time, whereas Bonham got married pretty young. His wife always used to complain to Bonham, "Don't you be playing with that Planty." It's not only humorous, but it's also really endearing to see Plant, Page, and Jones react to hearing these John Bonham recordings for, I believe, it's the very first time. It's really the whole backbone of the film. After the early years, we get the story of the band's formation. Jimmy Page was in the disbanding Yardbirds. He wanted to recruit a new singer and came across Robert Plant, who said, "I'm only going to join if you pick up John Bonham." John Paul Jones saw that they were looking for a bass player, called up Page, and Page said, "Yeah, man, let's do it." Led Zeppelin is born. And the rest of the film is really a whirlwind of events between 1968 and 1970. There's a lot of concert footage. They play complete versions of songs. And probably the funny part is that in the UK, they were initially rejected. It's pretty hilarious when you see little kids plugging their ears because they can't stand elongated guitar solos, or some of the howling vocals of Robert Plant. It's not until the band travels to the US where they play a gig at the Fillmore in San Francisco. After that, the ship really starts to correct itself, as they have a relentless year of touring and recording 2 award-winning albums that all culminates finally traveling back to the UK, where they play a show, knock everyone's socks off, and set the stage for becoming the biggest band of the next decade. Before I go ahead and rate this film, just a reminder to please subscribe to the channel, and maybe even share this review with a friend. Alright, I'm going to have to go ahead and give Becoming Led Zeppelin 1 glass of wine. It's damn near perfect, don't get me wrong. The one thing that hinders it from that perfect score, in my estimation, are the live performances. Because we get, I think it's 5 songs from start to finish. Now, I know if you're a big Led Zeppelin fan, you probably love it. You probably felt like you were at a concert while in the theater. And that's great, but we're just talking in terms of the film from start to finish. The runtime was just over 2 hours. If we had kept it down to about an hour 45, I just felt it would have been all the more perfect. Regardless of that, I love the story itself. The band really appears to me to be Jimmy Page's baby. That melding of blues and progressive psychedelia, that was truly a sound that was of its time. And I'll say this about the band. It seems to resonate with multiple eras of people. I'm an elder millennial, and I vividly remember in high school people buying Led Zeppelin CDs. I mean, that was the late 90s, early 2000s. But great music is great music. Let me know what you think in the comments, though. Have you gotten the Led out? I would love to know. All right, thanks for tuning in to Grover Served.